Welcome to another Rust and WebAssembly Working Group. How's everybody doing today? Awesome. Okay. So diving into the agenda, no new RFCs to triage. Let's jump into the blocking release candidate issues, which are getting pretty small here, which is pretty exciting. So I think we talked about last time the expressing JS dependencies and how we kind of want to push that back for when Ashley gets off of vacation. So I think we can continue doing that, but maybe it makes sense not to have that be an explicit goal for the release candidate. So for context, there's 2 weeks from today is when the release candidate is being cut. And of course, it's just kind of a motivational thing for us. It's not like we're actually putting things into the release candidate, but yeah, I don't know. Do people have a feeling like, do you think we should just kick that off for the final 6-week sprint?
I think that's fine. Like, this isn't mostly here. I wanted to make sure it doesn't fall by the wayside. Just we come back to it, but I don't think it's critical. Like, if we postpone it one more, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just keep the tag there so that we keep looking at it. I think it'd be fine. The user-facing documentation overhaul. I added a couple new things to the checklist here, which was how to do testing with WASM bindgen test, especially since I have a almost ready to land WASM pack test subcommand. But yeah, other than that, this is still kind of just mostly waiting for like WebSys to be published so that we can add documentation for that. And yeah, and I think other than that, it's in a really good place. All right, what is next? The extends. So Sarah had expressed interest in taking on some of these, but I have not heard any activity on that, really. Did someone had something they were starting to say about this issue?
No, but I mean, I can follow up with her.
Yeah.
She might just be busy job searching right now, so.
Yeah, totally understandable. Yeah, she did like follow up and ask like which issue it was again. But yeah, just I don't know. We're pretty close, here. Mostly what's left is just we need to actually implement WebAssembly instance in JSys, and then we can add the extends. And then the others are all kind of just objects that are really more like namespaces, and it doesn't really matter that much whether they have extends or not. So I don't know. Again, like this is pretty much done. And so CI for the Rust and Webpack templates.
It looks like it's just waiting on WASM pack build to be released. I guess we could cut a release sometime, either this week or next.
Yeah. So Ashley did ask, saying that she wanted to write release notes.
Okay, yeah.
I know she cares a lot about like having really high quality release notes.
Yeah, I know how she does it, but I know she particularly likes doing that. So she gets back the 4th, so we could probably do a release after that. I mean, it's like we still have 2 weeks out until the next release candidate anyways. We consider the end.
Yeah.
The next one. So I think we have time, but we should probably do another release soon. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I think Shandir just joined the call.
Oh.
He worked on the CI thing.
Oh yeah.
Hey, hello. Hi, I just joined the call. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So Sven says that you've been looking into CI for the template.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking into CI templates, and that requires Batman Pack to be there. And Batman Pack doesn't have build there, so it's not able to work with that. But I have the CI ready, so if we release a new version of Batman Pack with the build command, then we can use it.
Yeah, so we can definitely get a new release out by the end of this little sprint cycle. Another thing that we could do just in the meantime to start landing CI is we could install WASM pack from Git in CI just until there's a new release.
Hey,
Yep, we can also do that.
Yeah.
I tried the WASM pack template, the Rust Webpack template, and I would say make a WASM pack release as soon as possible, because currently the template is broken because it uses an unreleased uses WASM pack build, which is not released yet. So everyone who's trying this right now is actually running into troubles. Yeah, so as soon as possible would be good for UX, for people trying it out.
Is the template using anything other than just like the name WASM pack build? Is it relying on features that don't exist in WASM pack init?
That I don't know, maybe Sven knows more.
I don't think Sven has a. Oh, yeah, he's in the chat. I don't know if it's related, but I was noticing like linker errors happening in CI. For like that was on Twiggy that someone was talking about a similar error for WASM pack build.
Yeah, I CC'd you, Alex, on that issue. It looks like there's like some dilib, like liblvm dilib, that's just like not being found.
Oh, sorry. That's some bug with today's nightly, and that'll be fixed. Well, there's a PR for it on the Rust repo, but there's nothing to do with anything. I posted a couple of workarounds to that, but it's a known bug and it's being fixed.
Okay.
And so the thing with the init command is that it's quite slow for our use case because we just want to build the project. And the init command is actually installing WASM bindgen and this kind of stuff. So we cannot use it to actually watch and rebuild the code live. That's why we went with the build command.
So there's the -m no install mode, which just assumes you've already installed everything.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I don't remember which. I mean, there's still it still did more work than just building the thing.
But Sven, can we do a workaround here? Can we try to make sure, like, if build command is not present, then we will go ahead with the command? Can we do that in that plugin? Would that make sense? It's much more easier than to release a new version of Aspen Pack for this now, right?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, so we first try to do the Aspen Pack build. If the Aspen Pack build doesn't work out, then we try to do Aspen Pack in it for now in the plugin. So we put an else condition there and then probably run Aspen Pack in it if Aspen Pack build is not there, which will actually help us, like, which will not have this, which will prevent the happy, which will make the happy flow to work for the template.
Yes. So I think that will work, but I need to try. Last time I tried with the init command, it was a pretty bad experience because you had to wait for several more steps. But I mean, I can.
-m command with no install mode.
Yeah, I ran it with the no install mode.
Okay.
But I need to try again. But I think that will be a good fix for now. But then the thing is that if we release the build command at the end of the week, we are going to throw away this work.
No, so build will always be have higher preference. So we'll first try the build. If it fails, then go to the init with no install stuff. and we can remove it in the next version. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I will try.
Okay. Awesome.
So the next issue here is the publish the WebSys crate. And there's a little bit of movement on that. So we're very close to being done here. I added a new unchecked checkbox to this, which is the WebIDL callbacks, because I don't think it makes sense to publish WebSys without being able to add event listeners, for example. And I believe it was AEP filed an issue about this as well. And yeah, so it just doesn't make sense to release without that. And then the other thing is Alex and I were talking the other day about WebSys and its slow compilation times, because I mean, it's generating a crap ton of Rust for every single API that exists on the web, and it takes like 20 something seconds to compile on fast machines. And do we care about, I mean, obviously we do care about compilation times, but do we care enough that we consider it a blocker for publishing the WebSys crate? And if so, what do we want to do to tackle that? So, Alex?
My opinion is yes, there should be a blocker, and my best idea that I have for making it, for the reasonable time frame fixing this, is adding up a ton of features to WebSys and basically say that when you enable a feature, you're basically enabling that WebIDL file. And so it's on you, like we can provide some documentation for that, but it's on users then to say, I want basically just a tiny subset.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, I think, like right now, if you enable one WebIDL file, it might not be that useful because everything it depends on isn't also enabled. And so we might be able to, over time, draw graphs between these dependencies and say, like, when you enable, like, the canvas context, like, you'll get a bunch of other stuff that is required for using it at all. But for now, I think we could just say the simple thing, just say, like, we list out all WebIDL files, and we just don't compile it if you don't list it. And that should be blazingly fast because, yeah, you're not compiling much.
And if we do that, then I think we need to also make it so that the documentation always has everything enabled, just so people know what's available, and that the doc comment says which feature is required in order to get that method.
That makes sense. That'll be non-trivial to do, but we can do it.
Actually, I think that's pretty easy because so at RustConf, I saw the talk from Ms. Jeevis about adding like how the supported on Windows only kind of little boxes end up in RustDoc.
Oh yeah, I mean just like right now the WebIDL backend has no knowledge of the WebIDL file that it came from. So like no annotations have like I am from this WebIDL file, and the current parser we have has no support of like coming from anyway. But so we could probably fix those things. But the other aspect is that we don't necessarily know that. We know the file that it was defined in, so like the method itself, but it also depends on all the types in the type signature being defined. Mm. And so we'd have to say it depends on all of those features being defined.
Yeah. And I forgot that the way that the build RS works for WebSys is it just concatenates everything together into a string in memory and then passes it through the WebIDL front end.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to do that. We could do it once per, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's take this discussion to the issue for the future. Okay. So overall, I think we're doing like really well. We set out like a huge amount of stuff to do for this cycle, and I think pretty much all of it is like super on track. So congrats everyone. Thanks for all the progress we've been making. Okay. So let's jump into the like each sub-goal status update. So I feel like we just went over WebSys, so I don't think we need to get into that more. WASM pack, I can do an update for, which is that, so WASM pack is now downloading WASM bindgen when available instead of doing a cargo install. And of course, this is not released yet, but it's like way faster, assuming you have a good internet connection. Building WASM bindgen from source is like, I don't know, like 30 seconds or so, a minute. And downloading it is like 1 second. That's pretty great. Sindil, are you dialing in or are you on Zoom?
I'm on Zoom. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do you think you could mute? There's a bunch of background noise coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I'm also working on the WASMPack test command. Yeah. And then the out directory pull request is still in flight, and there's some weird CI failures that I don't really understand, where like the CI machine is getting, its disk usage is like full. Yeah.
Maybe we cached builds. I could always go through and just clear the cache from the CI, see if that fixes it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I was thinking too, but like none of the other pull requests are hitting this issue, so it's a little confusing to me.
Okay, I have a little time today, so I guess I can see why it's failing.
Yeah, because it's just, you know, some random contributor who's coming in and like is stuck on this, and like I think they would really appreciate, you know, a little bit of help here.
Yeah, we don't want them to have a bad experience. Yeah, let me take a look at that today. I have some time in between some other stuff today, so I can take a look.
Awesome, thank you. All right.
So, Nick, sorry, can you also enable the CI for the template?
Enable the CI for the Rust WASM template?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we need to do that. I will file an issue. So I know we have the issue for doing that in WASMPack, but it's not clear to me that that's the right place to do that. I think it probably wants it in its own repo so that we can enable Dependabot and like automatically stay up to date with all the things.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that might not work actually for the template because it has the like mustaches style, you know, placeholders. I don't know if Dependabot will handle it. But yes, that is something. Need to prioritize CI for Rust WASM. Or wait, was it WASM app template? No. WASMPack template. All right. Sven, do you want to talk about some bundler stuff? Or Sindil?
So it's the same status than last time. So it's on track.
Okay. Documentation, Katozi?
I was a bit busy this week with a job interview in San Fran and kind of being all over the place, so I have not taken a look as to what's been going on. Did your WASMPack, is your WASMPack PR still kind of in progress, or did that get merged?
Yeah, went ahead and merged it.
Cool.
So
that integrates. That was kind of the major one, I think, that integrated a lot of things, did a lot of fixes. So I think maybe you could describe a lot of what happened there for everyone else, because it was pretty big from what I remember.
Yeah, so basically, like, for a long time, we've wanted to talk about, like, kind of like using the WASMPack workflow in the Game of Life tutorial, and had been kind of waiting on, like, newer WASMPack releases that had, you know, like WASMPack build and stuff. But then since it's so easy to just rename init to build once we ship that. Just went and did it, and so it's all integrated into the tutorial now, and there's a new section on publishing a Rust-generated WASM NPM package to NPM. Yeah. All right. And the other thing that was interesting is there was like some bugs that came in as part of that. Like, so you have to do npm link after npm install, and like people like found that and filed issues, which is great. That means people are actually like going through the whole tutorial and everything. So very fun.
And it's also good that they like felt the need to file an issue, because sometimes people might just use something and then leave, and then they go like, well, that's too hard, and then they never file an issue, and
yeah,
you don't catch those kinds of things. So that's good. That's very good.
All right. Website updates. Cindy?
Okay, so for website updates, I'm still waiting for comments from Aaron Furen, if I'm not spelling his name wrongly. And also from Ashley. So Ashley's on vacation now. Probably once she comes back, we can let us know.
Okay.
Just waiting for something there.
Cool. That should start to be, so both Ashley and Aaron are on vacation right now. So hopefully we can prioritize that when they get back.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Debugging, not much updates. The proof of concept that Yuri's been working on is kind of like making its way upstream into debugger HTML and other places. Basically the non-Firefox browsers are not in a place where they're ready to talk about debugging yet, which is kind of like cool for Firefox that they're like ahead, but like not great for everyone else who wants to debug because they're just not ready to like tackle this problem. But it's like the general idea of like the way that this is going to shape up eventually is it's probably going to be some sort of like web extension or module or something that you can import that allows you to like provide information about the program being debugged. And so for Rust, we'll have some module that will interpret like dwarf and then provide that as like in a higher level API that the dev tools call into. And so I know Yuri is prototyping that as well, and he's writing that in Rust using the Gimli package for parsing dwarf, and then that whole thing is going to be compiled to WASM. And so when we debug WASM, we'll be debugging WASM with WASM. It'll be very fun and kind of meta-circular and all of that stuff. Yeah, and then templates, I feel like templates we already kind of talked about in both the triage and other earlier sections. So unless anyone has anything else they would like to talk about templates, I don't think there's much more to say. Okay. That's everything we have on the agenda. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up to the group?
I'm getting ready to release a course on ACAD, which will be completely free.
Release a what?
Release a video course on how to get started with Rust WebAssembly. It will be 25 minutes and it's going to be free. And it's like, I'm basically waiting for WASM Pack for the next release. And yeah, probably going to ship in 2 weeks or so. And I'll let you guys know. And
Awesome.
Ashley will review it. Yeah, just want to share that.
Nice. What kind of topics are you going to cover in the, you said it was 25 minutes?
Yeah, basically starting from like I took the book as inspiration and starting from like how to do it raw, just using the target WASM unknown, but then going into uh, basically what's WASM pack and why you should use WASM pack, explaining WASM bindgen, and then going even into JSys. And the last lesson is going to be like quick demo. Like WASM pack is not node ready yet. So I only gonna demo, hey, you can also run WebAssembly in Node. But yeah, that's not WASM pack yet. But once that's ready, I can add a lesson later on about how to demo WASM pack in Node. Yeah, that's a rough overview. Actually, I can post it in the paper, all the lesson titles. Then
Cool.
feedback is appreciated. So I will add that after the call.
Awesome. Thank you. About not supporting Node, I don't know if WASM pack surfaces any way to specify custom flags for WASM bindgen, but there's definitely a mode where you can target like require JS style, or not require JS, like common JS style require modules.
Really?
Yeah, so we need to double check that WASM pack isn't preventing you from doing that.
I opened an issue in WASM pack and I got the feedback there was a blocker. Yeah, maybe that's not really. Let's look into it. I can mention you on the issue.
Here, I'm gonna throw something in the paper there. All right. I think we're running out of time. I don't actually get the countdown timer. So if other people do, how much time do we have? 6, 7, 8? I can count. Is that 8 minutes or 8 seconds?
So we have 7.5 minutes right now.
Okay. Yeah. Any last comments? Anything? Anyone have anything to share? No. Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Thanks everyone for taking time out of your busy days to talk about Rust and WebAssembly. And have a wonderful week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.